Most e-commerce brands do not have a traffic problem. They have an email marketing or a retention problem that is costing them over 30 to 50% of their overall revenue, which could equate to over hundreds of thousands of dollars like this brand was experiencing. So I'm going to show you exactly how to add an extra few $100,000 just from email marketing alone using these top 8 trends that I have been using in this year so far. The first one, which is grossly underrated, is using text-only emails as well as newsletters. Text-only emails should equate to about 40% of your overall sends. Take a look at the emails that Breeze is sending, like this one and this one. You can see that they're consistently sending plain text emails from a person like Corbin from Breeze, and then they add another persona. They always do 2 personas, which I think is incredibly valuable. They do Corbin, which is kind of the customer support person, and then they do one from the owner, Aaron. That way, you're preserving how important the message from Aaron is, gets way more opens, way more clickability. Whereas Corbin is still a personalized touch point and it still feels personable, but it is not undervalued, and you can keep that going as a consistent alias in your business. So what I recommend is that you create 2 aliases. You create one from the founder and you send that once a month, and then you create one from someone else on the team, like they do with Corbin. This is going to be a campaign that you send out maybe twice a week, if not more, but no less than that. It's going to be a plain text email. Then on the side, you also want a bi-weekly newsletter, something like Wellness Wednesdays or something to that extent. You can see that we've been sending newsletters like this consistently, and it's generated a minimum of $50,000 on average per campaign send. Keep in mind that this is not a salesy newsletter. This is value-based. It is a soft sell at the very bottom of the email. There's no intention to sell, but it has this personalized aspect. What's ironic is this year, because everyone has dialed up their design, everything is stripping back, and what people are relating to more is a little bit of a break in the pattern. And that's exactly what plain text emails are doing right now, as well as newsletters. Keep in mind that newsletters are a really great way to build rapport with your customer base and make sure that you improve your open rates and the amount that your audience actually interacts with you, because you're not constantly selling to them. Suddenly, you're a little bit more of a trusted source of information. So for example, your first chapter should be just a little bit of a personal take, maybe about how bad Stranger Things final season was. Just a little bit more of a touch point. The second one should be value, and as a byproduct of that value, it actually sells your products. So let's just say that you sell creatine gummies. You should make an entire article post about creatine, the latest studies on it, the latest results of it, and then suddenly upsell your creatine. And in the last chapter, you can choose what you want to do, but maybe recipes, especially if you have a drink brand or you have something that could kind of go alongside that. That is a really great way to go. Next up, and I see this way too often, is simplifying segments. What I see all the time when I audit backend of accounts is the overcomplication of segmentation, and it's actually diluting your results. It doesn't make any sense. When you're creating segments, there's only 5 core segments you actually have to pay attention to. Even then, that's kind of stretching it because most people don't have the bandwidth to do campaigns to all of those segments, which is why our agency goes in and does it for our clients. So here are the segments that you need to be creating right now. I honestly recommend that you pause the video and create these alongside me. Number 1, anyone that has placed an order at least once over all time. So these are people that place an order at least in some point in time with you. And the reason we want to create this is because we're going to send them our ongoing campaigns. We want to keep them in the loop. These are the hottest leads that we have. Next, we're going to create repeat purchases. Anyone that has purchased at least twice over all time. We're going to hold on to that, and I'll tell you what to do with that segment shortly. The next one we're going to create is only purchase once and never repeat purchase. So in Klaviyo, you can just go and create a segment of people that have placed an order at least twice or more over all time. The reason why we want to create these 2 deviations from the first segment is because this is going to tell us a lot about where we need to improve our strategy. If you do not have a high returning customer base and your one-time purchases far outweighs the amount of people that have repeat purchased, the reason for that is because you have a really weak post-purchase flow, and number 2, people do not understand the value of repeat buying your product. So with that being said, we want to make sure that we're valuing our repeat customers. We're not sending them as much as we should because they're going to buy anyway. So we want to send less specific high offers to them. But what we do want to do is we want to test offers with sample sizes of this group and then take the winners of those offers that we've tested and run them to the one-time purchases. Then we're going to create our 4th segment and we're going to do the same tactic to them. Our 4th segment is going to be our engaged 180 days or 120 days. And that's going to be people that have opened an email email at least 3 times in those 120 days or 180 days. We're going to take that segment and we're going to create an off segment of that as well. This segment is going to be of people that have engaged in those days but have never placed an order in that time. The reason for that is because these people are so close to placing an order. They're paying attention to what you're posting about. They're paying attention to what you say. They just haven't seen a unique enough offer to convert. And so what we do is we want to strategically test those offers on that engaged list as well. And we're going to find what works with them as the majority offer. So let's just say that we do a $1 off versus a percentage off, and the $1 off outweighs the percentage off. We're then going to take the winning offer and we're going to send that into our flows. So whether that be their checkout abandonment, the cart abandonment, or the win back flow, we want to incorporate that specific offer in those because we know it's the most likely to convert non-buyers. Now, obviously you can go and create some other segments, so I'll just throw out some important ones out there, but for the most part, those are the main ones you need. Obviously, create a segment of anyone that has subscribed to your product or get subscriptions. That's an important segment if you do have a subscription program. The other one is win back opportunities, so people that have placed an order at least once but haven't never placed an order in the last, let's just say 90 days is a fair amount of time. And then you can go and create sub-segments of that. But for the most part, you don't want to categorize based on what category of product they purchase unless it's very specific to, they've completely different audiences, but that is a story for another day. Now, moving on, the next most important thing this year is an evergreen flow. Now, the issue with most email marketing strategies is that people keep trying to reinvent the wheel and they're trying to oversend campaigns. It does not work anymore. So yes, sending frequently is super important, and that's going to be one of my later points, but with that being said, the most important thing that you should be doing is not relying on campaigns and constantly trying to figure out how to convert people. What you should be doing instead is creating a evergreen flow. And what this is that when people exit out of the welcome flow, they instead go into the evergreen flow. So instead of you trying to rely on sending campaigns to them, what you're going to do with this evergreen flow is you're going to make it a compilation of all of your best performing non-discount campaigns. Even if it's a newsletter, even if it's a plain text email, whatever was best performing in the last year or the last 6 months, go and put those segments or those campaigns in that flow. So the way that we built it out is we took our best performers and we just did about a 3 to 4 day delay between them because that was our campaign sending frequency anyway. And what happened is we saw an exponential increase in sales because we are no longer relying on campaigns and trying to figure out new ideas and new angles. We know for a fact that anyone that is a recent subscriber is seeing our most highest converting campaigns first, which is the most optimal way to get conversions. We don't want to try and figure out what's going to convert these people. We know for a fact our audience is converted from these specific campaigns, so there's no need to play the guessing game. So this is a flow you absolutely have to introduce. Next up is espresso shot deals. Now what this is in your abandonment series, instead of trying to run them through multiple different emails with multiple codes and trying to give urgency and give reminders and call last calls, that doesn't really work anymore. What really works well that we split test is an espresso shot deal. And what that means is in these flows, you are, instead of delaying the sale, you're giving them extreme urgency. So either within the first or the second email, you're saying, hey, you left this behind, complete your order, and you have 3 hours to do it. And if you do it in those 3 hours, we're actually going to give you our best discount at 20% off. Keep in mind that you need to make the deal different to your welcome offer. It doesn't make any sense to have a matching deal within your welcome flow or your cart abandonment series, because if they didn't convert from the welcome offer, they're definitely not going to convert from that same offer in their abandonment series. So with that being said, try an espresso shot. I dare you to go and split test it. You'll probably be really surprised what happens in people's psyche when they're given a no-brainer decision with a really great discount and an urgency that they can't really deny. 3-hour delay or 3-hour time to get that discount really pushes that urgency, and it creates that panic and the fear of missing out. So I definitely think you should be trying that. Next up is optimizing sign-up forms for submissions. And now hear me out. This is something that most brands think they have nailed down, but they absolutely do not. Here's the exact formula that we use right now for the best amount of submissions and the most amount of return on that sign-up form. Number one is making it a mystery discount. You can figure out a way to do this that's not tacky or, diminishing to the brand, but the best way to do it is make sure that they don't know what discount they're getting off of the bat. The reason is because they're going to get a preconceived idea of pricing and the brand, and anything that is slightly priced higher than that, they're not going to accept. So you're almost damaging your brand off the bat because they're going to consistently rely on that deal. Whereas if you unlock that deal, the urgency is going to be way higher. They're going to feel like they earned that deal, and they're going to pay attention to your emails and learn to pay attention to your emails. So we generally do a mystery discount. And what that looks like is we'll have something saying, hey, you give us your email and we will unlock the best discount possible for you. And so we're not saying, hey, it's a mystery or whatever the case is. We're then going to get their email because we're optimizing for capturing their information. And keep in mind that we're only asking for their email. We're not asking for SMS. We're not asking for a phone number. Step number one is either choosing a pain point to unlock the discount or just asking for the email off the bat. Again, we want to optimize for getting their emails so that we can retarget them later on. So we're doing that. And then obviously what we're doing in the second step is we're making it optional to go and either choose a pain point or to fill in their phone number. The important point is that it's optional. Do not force your customers to fill in a phone number. We want to make sure we can at least capture their information off the rip. So once we have that, then we're going to reveal the discount that they've unlocked in the welcome flow. And in that first email, we're going to make it very clear again that they've just unlocked our best offer, that they're pretty lucky to get that because we don't generally offer that. And so it's going to build again that FOMO that I was talking about earlier. That is the best, most optimized sign up form layout that you can possibly build. Now, the next point is a little bit contradictory to what I was saying about the evergreen flow, but not really, because this is for your existing customers. You need to send more frequently. I don't know how to say this enough. Most of the accounts that I audit, even multi-million-dollar brands, don't even realize that they're losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars just by not sending more frequently. And trust me, all I hear, and I'm sure you're saying it yourself, this is BS because people get tired and they get irritated and they're tired of hearing from us. That is not true. Obviously, if you feel like your audience is tired from hearing from you, it means that you're not sending good enough campaigns. That's just how it is. Because you have to remember that Nancy is not going to remember that you sent her a campaign yesterday or the day before. She's getting hundreds of other emails. But if you're making it interesting enough, it's not going to be an issue for her to get your emails. Make them interesting enough to read. Make sure that every time she opens her email, it's worth her time and it's interesting to look at. And if you're not going to do that, then at least segment her out. But either way, you should probably be sending as frequently as possible. So ideally 4 to 5 times per week minimum. And that's what all the top brands are doing. So there's a reason for it. It's a formula that works. You're consistently hitting them with plain text and visual relays so that you're not continuously, overboarding them with emails. It always looks different and you're always trying to provide value. But frequency is so important, especially when you take into account the segments that we just made earlier and the fact that different messaging needs to go to the different segments. So trust me, sending more frequently is going to make you a whole lot more money. The next tactic that we're taking into 2026, which almost no brands do well enough, is testing different offers. So many people rely on just a discount offer and they release that every single month, if not more frequently than every single month. And what's happening is it's damaging your brand because your audience is going to expect that every single time and you're training them on that deal. What you should be doing instead is training your audience on a different deal every single month. There's a few reasons why. Number one, you get to test different offers and get proven stats on what your audience responds to best. So do they respond best to $1 off or a percentage off or free shipping or spend X, get X? Figure out what that is and you can reuse that on your biggest sale dates like Black Friday instead of trying to guess what to do during those dates. You've already got the data to prove what works. That's how it should work. The second reason is because they're not going to become used to you doing the same deal, which means that they're going to strike when the iron is hot. So when you do a deal that seems appealing to them, they're going to know that it's very rarely that you repeat that exact same deal and they're going to place action on that deal. So trust me, it is going to save you a lot of margin and it's going to make sure that you actually do sales that get a lot of traction and conversion. So here are some things that I would recommend for you if I were in your shoes. Number one, test a percentage off versus $1 off. Take the winner and test it against free shipping. Take that winner and test it against a spend X, get X. Take that winner and then use it against like a subscription deal. So sometimes you don't even have to run a sale or an offer. You can do, hey, subscribe now and you get 15% off every single month. Sometimes we will run that as an entire promotion and it outperforms anything else that we do. You can do free gifts. You can do a buy X, get a free, your cheapest product free. Whatever it is, we like to throw in these different offers to really understand our audience, and I think you should be doing the same. Now, the last tactic that we're using is very specific to anyone who has very subscription heavy branding. So anyone that has, repeat purchases and they have a huge reliability on their customers subscribing to their products to get them monthly or on a specific time, relapse. So what we do is, and what you should absolutely be doing, is when you're sending out email marketing, you have to exclude your subscribers from your campaigns. The reason is because every single time you're sending them a campaign, they're reminded that they subscribe to you, and it is just going to improve your churn. Trust me, we did this for a brand and we decreased their churn massively just by excluding them from sends and sending them very specific emails within a flow. This way it was way more targeted and they weren't getting these redundant messages and they weren't reminded that, hey, I'm subscribed to this brand. Actually, do I want to be subscribed? Think about when you get a message from whoever it is. Maybe it's your internet provider or your cell provider, or maybe just a Netflix. If Netflix was sending you emails every single day, every time you read that email, you're probably thinking, is this something I want to be subscribed to? Maybe the smaller subscriptions you have, you also think the same thing. So instead, we want to exclude them from there and we want to send them very catered to messaging. So instead, we want to send them upsells and cross-sells. We want to make sure that we create a segment of anyone that has delayed or canceled their subscription. And we want to send them new emails about new deals, new loyalty that comes with subscription, whatever it is. That's the way that we want to handle our subscription program. So with that, it kind of concludes the top 8 tactics that we're taking into 2026 that have already generated hundreds, if not millions of dollars already for our clients. And I absolutely recommend you take them into your brand as well. With that, if you're a brand and you're looking for an agency to come in and handle all of this uptake, because I know it is a lot, then go down below, book in a call with my team, and we'd be happy to help you out. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.